right. Well, hey, welcome everybody. Thank you all for being here. My name is Tim Gallagher. This is my classroom. Welcome to my classroom here at Winter Springs High School. And thank you all for being here. I know some of you like, oh, sign up and get some information. They say, congratulations, you're enrolled in the course. And maybe that made your decision to actually to be here. That's great. And some of you emailed myself or Faith with some more information, and hopefully you made a good decision to be here. I hope that after tonight, because tonight we're just going to give like an overview and what this is going to entail and what we're going to be doing, I hope that all of you decide to come back. I understand that some of you might not decide to, and I do have a waiting list. So if you'll come in here, so I know we've done these for the past few springs, and if you decide after tonight that this guy is just annoying or this is not my cup of tea, no hard feelings. Let me know, and we have other people that would like to be here too. But I hope you all stay, and I hope you all find this to be an absolutely wonderful experience. Because there's a lot of great things I think that you can get out of here, and a lot of great things you can take back to your classroom, a lot of things you can do with a computer science certification as well too. So that's the whole goal. And we'll go over, hopefully answer a bunch of your questions that some of you may have about this, and let you know what we're going to be doing and what this entails over the next few weeks. It actually goes through May, and what this entails and what you get out of it, both points and stipends and everything else as well too. So. Let's go ahead then and get started. So this is kind of what we're going to do tonight, this first opening session. The other sessions are about an hour and a half. I think we can probably get out of here in about an hour, just to kind of consider we're not getting too much into a lot of material tonight. But so hopefully this first session is about an hour. Go through some introductions, talk about why we're here, talk about the exam overview. I know as teachers we're always, hey, we don't teach to the test. This is going to be a little bit more towards teaching to the test, because that's the whole point of this, is you pass the certification exam. Part of that involves learning a lot of computer science, because it's not just learn these 4 things, memorize them, answer those types of questions. There's a lot of critical thinking, a lot of problem solving, a lot of putting different topics together and analyzing code and making predictions what things do. So we're going to learn a lot in the process. We're going to take a lot of what I tend to do in one of my courses and condense an entire year down into 5 modules over 7 or 8 weeks here. So, but we're teachers, that's our superpower, is being able to digest so much of that information. We'll talk about the course we're doing. We'll talk about study.com, which all of you will be getting access to. I don't think Faith Metlock has sent those out yet. Have you all got information about? So those will come really soon. By the way, Faith is the person at the Educational Support Center with ePathways who writes the grants for this type of thing and is the reason why we're all here doing this and manages all that. I just show up and spew things, but she takes care of all the behind the scenes and everything else, and allows you all to be here. And then we'll go through some questions, and we'll also talk about setting up our text, setting up things at home. If you have a laptop with you, we'll do some things here. Not required to have tonight, really not required for any class, but some people like to work on some things while we're doing some of the sessions here. I do have computers here that you can always use as well, but we're really going to be going over a lot of material, and there'll be some things that you can work on at home, and again, just to get that solidified foundation for the topics that we're going to cover in preparation for this exam. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So a little bit about me first, because spotlight's on me and I'm all about talking. We have that, I always tell my students I perform 6 shows daily, right? So this is number 7 for today. I'm a computer science major in college, University of Miami. Go Canes, anyone? There we go, go Canes. A football fan, great run these past 2 months up to the national championship game, but if you're not a college football fan, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But it was a great run, trust me, it was really good. I then got my master's in secondary math ed from UCI. I was a software engineer for about 9 years, decided I was making way too much money. What can I do to bring that tax bracket down a bit there? So I went to teach. I got my master's in math education at UCF, go Knights. I was just there on a college tour with my daughter, my oldest daughter, who's a junior, and we're going on college tours now. I'm sure some of you have done that, and it's just blowing my mind that she just turned 17. And it's blowing my mind. Anyway, but I've been here at Winter Springs since fall of '99. I started it's my 27th year. This is, started the AP Computer Science program here. I currently teach AP Computer Science A, which is our first semester college level course in computer science, like other AP classes if you're familiar with them. We're an IB school, so I teach IB Math and IB Computer Science as well here. We used to do dual enrollment courses until we got the IB program in, so we had other levels to do. I've do a lot of work for the College Board. I was on the Computer Science Aid Development Committee. We developed a test every year, did that for about 7 years. I'm now a workshop consultant. I do that during the summer. And grade exams. If any of you are familiar, if you've been around CS 2020, which was a thing a while ago, we had a bunch of people that were tasked with making sure that we could have computer science curriculum in every grade K through 12 by 2020. Some of you are probably still doing some of the things that got added to the curriculum there, whether it be the bebops. We had those little bebot robots in kindergarten, those bebots that they got to move around, and critical thinking, right? Deciding, making those pathways and solving mazes and programming. That's the fundamental of what we do here. And then help develop the iChallenge course. I know it's all changing now, but one of the middle school courses, iChallenge, where they use code.org and some other different things like to help develop that as part of the CS 2020 as well. And I just hit my watch and I changed the focus and I zoomed way out. Anyway, so did that as well, and then we've been doing this since 2020, not every year, but we've been, ePathways has put in for grants to do things like this to get more teachers certified in computer science, and that's why we're here doing this. And the state of Florida's got a vested interest in doing that. We'll talk about that in a little while. But they just want more teachers certified in computer science and getting students ready for the next stage. I'm sure you figured out, obviously computers aren't going anywhere. AI is totally changing education, and as I recruit students for my computer science class, it's telling them that jump on that train. You want to be the person who knows how to use AI and knows how to write software. You don't want to be the person whose job gets replaced by AI, which that's going to happen a lot. And so we don't know what's coming, but having that technological background is really good. And the biggest problem that we see in schools, we don't have enough teachers to teach it at any level, in middle school and high school specifically. But even some schools have have resource teachers, or have had them at different points that can come around and work with students specifically in these STEM subjects. And just having more teachers certified in computer science is a great thing as well. And so anyway, that's what we're here. If you haven't done so, I think everyone got this Google form already. So just to, again, a little bit about you, I'll go through and read those. If you have any questions for me, I know there's a question thing on there also. And as we go along, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me as well about the course itself. If we could, I know we hate this as students and I hate this too, but if we can go around and just introduce yourself and just where you're from, what school you're at. You don't tell me anything else. I don't need to know. I've been teaching 87 years or anything like that, but I'm going to try to put names and faces together. We only meet once every few weeks, so it's going to be rough, but I'll know you by email more than anything, I'm sure, over this. So can we start over here and then go around the room? We'll go from there. And hi.
Hi, I'm Marshall Cohen. I'm from LA originally.
Sweet.
And I teach at Sanford Middle School.
Awesome. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Fiorella. I teach at Greenwood Lakes Middle School. I was born in Spain, grew up in New York City, moved to Florida. I also lived in Uruguay, South America.
Nice. Back table.
Missy Jones, Rainbow Elementary, K12 STEM, grew up in South Florida.
Great. We're in South Florida.
I was born in Fort Lauderdale, but I lived in Miami before I moved here.
I went to Cooper City High School and
That's where I was going if I'd stayed there. I moved here before high school though.
Oh, very cool.
My husband
Nice.
went to the University of Miami though, that's why.
Hey.
James Dershmer, Redbug Elementary, STEM, K5, Seminole County, all the way through.
Born and bred. Love
That's
it.
right.
Jocelyn Donald, I'm from Hollywood, Florida, and I teach at Sterling Park Elementary.
Nice. South Florida represent. Here we go. Hi.
I'm Karen Sweatman. I'm originally from New York, moved down here too many years ago, and I'm here too long, but that's okay. It's a story from another time. I teach at ITMS, and I teach the LEAP Advancing Pathways.
Oh, fantastic.
I'm Ashley Roswell. I'm from Oviedo, and I work at Lake Mary High School.
Cool. Front table here.
Hi, I'm Cherie Sanders, and I teach at Seminole High Ninth Grade Center, and I have a bachelor's degree in psychology and from UCF, and also a master's in CTE from UCF. And I've only been teaching for 4 years. I came from the public health sector, and I was an accountant, and then I was a counselor, and then I was like, what's next? Teacher. So that's what I'm doing.
Love it. Hi.
Caden Stone, I'm a third year teacher at Sci High, which is at Seminole High School. I'm from Tampa and now I'm here.
Very cool. Hi.
I'm Forbes, UCF grad, go Knights. We teach at the Juvenile Detention Center, the math teacher there. Interesting, been there for all 14 years by teaching, so.
Thank you for your service.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Wow. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, I'm Janitha Walker. I just got married. Stopped. But I work at the Juvenile Detention Center with Ian, and I'm from here, so I went to Lake House High School.
Oh, very cool.
States, yeah. And I've been teaching for 14 years, but only at the Juvenile Detention Center for 10.
Wow. That's awesome. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, Bridget Walters. I teach at Goldsboro Elementary, and I'm an Ohio transplant. So.
There you go. Ohio State fan?
I went to Ohio University. So.
Oh, there you go. Nice. Hi.
Hi, I'm Erin Mandel. I'm at Haggerty High School, and I'm originally from Long Island.
Very cool. South Florida people and New York people was everybody else too. Very cool. All right. So, so we'll go through, as I mentioned, different things. We'll talk about why we're here. As I mentioned, the state of Florida has decided they've got a vested interest in certifying more teachers to teach computer science. We just did a county PLC for CTE teachers, and technically I'm in CTE because that's where they put the computer science classes, even though it's not really career training as much as some of the other classes, but that's where they put us. We just talked to people from industry, and one of the big things is getting students with the right technological skills as they graduate, and not just here, but even just graduating college, or having students go into STEM majors and anything that's technology related, even as whether they go to a 4-year college or a 2-year college or just something right out of high school as well too. So there's a big push for that, and I'm glad they have. We can argue they don't always do a lot of things right at the state of Florida Education Department here, but they have us grants to fund this, so I'm grateful for that as well. So we're going to be doing that. Hopefully, just increase technology offerings at different courses, and we've seen that already. I mean, we've seen that with especially at the middle school and high school, and just the offerings try to increase. But the biggest problem is getting teachers to teach that, and so that's why we're here. It's a blended learning course. The main goal is to prepare you for the exam itself. We'll talk about things that I do in my classroom, things that other people have done at different levels of the classroom, but this is definitely not a 100%. We're going to give you a whole curriculum, and now you can go teach a brand new class and have all the supplies you'll need. I would love for that to be that, but that would take it a lot longer too. Our main goal is let's get you certified, and then go from there, and that gives you a strong argument when you want to start maybe a new program at your school, or if you want to apply to a program that, we have. Unfortunately, I've been here 27 years, but especially if any of you are at the high school level, you've all seen, if you have computer science teachers, the turnover is really right. Turnover is big everywhere, right? But we see a lot of that, and then trying to keep those programs going with qualified teachers is rare. So you will receive a stipend. I'll talk more about the details of that $500 stipend. The grant manager worked it out. We had a lot of people sign up, trying to get as lot of people, and then the numbers finally came down to we got you at 16. That's all we can do for that stipend to be where it is, and so we're at 16 people here. It changes every year based on what it is, so you all are here, and you got to be part of that 16, so we appreciate it. And then also the points as well too. I'll break that down on the next page. But you also receive, and I'm sure you're all aware of this, especially those who've been teaching for a number of years, if you get certified in another subject area, that's worth 60 points towards your recertification. So being here, you'll get 30 points for completing the PD, plus 60 points for passing the certification exam, because I'm confident all of you will pass by the end of this. And that's 90 points out of the 120 that you need every 5 years. And I know sometimes that can be a little dicey as it's getting close to the end of that 5 years, trying to get those last points in sometimes. That works out really well. And then, again, we talked about lots of different things we'll discuss along the way, what we can do to bring computer science to your school and some ideas that you have and things like that. And if you're looking to move within the county, there's always positions that open up. I know they're developing new courses for the middle schools as the Old I Challenge is, I think, going away or has gone away. Middle school teachers could tell me better, but they're developing more courses to go in there as well too. We need teachers for that. As opposed to, as I'm sure you've seen this, oh hey, we need someone to teach this, so congratulations, you're it. Go to the PD to teach how to teach this course. And when we first did CS 22, the I Challenge, and I apologize if any of you were there, but like it was, hey, and why are you here? And who goes, yeah, I teach PE. I was told I'm doing this now, 7th period. Let's go! But getting people more excited about technology is always a good thing, and it's a passion of mine too. So hopefully that'll rub off a little bit. All right, the important stuff: PD points and stipends. So the way they work this, so there is 7 in-person sessions here, and hopefully you all saw the dates on that. This one's an hour long, 1 point. The other ones are hour and a half long, 1.5 points. That comes to 10 points total. If you do the math on that. So it's 10 points. And then there are modules, there are 5 modules that we do throughout the course. We'll actually get really into the first one, the next one. But there is assignments in the in-betweens of the sessions that we're meeting at. And completing those assignments are worth 4 points per module. If you don't get an assignment done, then they'll reduce. That's how we keep track of the points during the times we're not here. So if you don't get an assignment done, your points might be reduced slightly. It's not like you're out of the program, but the points and or dollars would get reduced. I will tell you that what I tend to do is I do ask that that the assignments that we give you are due on the next one, because that's the first thing we do is go over them again. But I do keep them open for a week or so afterwards. So even if you're like, hey, these past 2 weeks have been hellacious, I know we just went over, I know Unit 2 is starting, but I got to finish up Unit 1, then go finish up Unit 1, and then get to Unit 2. Just try not to get too far behind, because we've had people, oh, I'll just do all 4 units the last week, and it doesn't work. And then they have no chance of passing the exam, because now they're just trying to cram it. So the best way to do this really is just spend a little bit of time. I estimate about 3 to 4 hours. You could easily spend more if you really want to get in. We'll give you a lot of opportunities to spend more time doing this if you like, but to complete the assignments, about 4 hours a module to get the assignments done in here, I think is a good amount of time to allocate. So if you want to do that all at once or do a little bit, whatever your schedule allows. It seems to be, I think that's the sweet spot that we found doing this a few times now over the past 2 years. It seems to work pretty good. Also, if for some reason you miss an in-person session, I can't give you the points for not being here, but I do record them and I will post them. We'll talk where you can find those later. So if life happens, of course. So we just can't give you the points for not being here because we have to document that. But if you watch the video, make up the assignments, you can still get the other points. You just want, instead of getting 30, you might end up with 26 or something like that by the end. But I highly encourage you to be here because we answer questions and I'm happy to sit down with you and work things out if you're stuck on an assignment or things like that. If you're looking for the restroom, water. Okay, no worries, thanks. But I do record them and you can watch through them as well. I posted all the videos the last time. Last time was the first time I recorded the videos. We hadn't done that before, and I recorded them and just made them public out there. So if you search computer science FTCE exam help, you get my videos come up, and I've had people go, hey, I watched your videos, I passed the exam. People, I have no idea who they are. So I figure, all right, and we've had pretty good success with people in here that have completed it, but I had people that literally just watched the videos of these sessions, and they didn't have the slides with the assignments. I mean, I guess they could have done the assignments just by what we had up here on the videos here, but they didn't have access to the eCampus course that we'll all have access to, and they've left comments on there saying, so, I think it works, and I think we're finding a good balance of trying not to overwhelm you, but at the same point, giving you all the information you need to pass the exam. So that's what we're doing here. Points and stipends will be awarded after the course is completed in May. If your certification is up this May and you need these points, talk to me and I'll see if Faith can get them in quickly if you're that close to it. So just let me know ahead of time. Otherwise, they'll award that, and I'm sure the county will take their sweet time getting this awarded in there. But usually by the end of the summer, they'll be in there. But if you're really like, hey, I need this 30 points for my certifications up in May or whatever that is, just let me know. We'll see what we can do to work things out and get those points in there. We had to push it a little bit later. Usually we're done by the end of May or beginning of May. This time, the last session is May 18th. That's really close to the end of the school year, I realize, when things get hectic. But then you can go either in May or even June, take the certification exam. I would recommend taking it soon after. But the points and stipends will be awarded. And as I mentioned, I don't know if I had that up here, the exam, they give you a voucher to take the exam, so you don't have to pay for it. Normally those are like $250, I think, for a subject cert, isn't it? Something like that? Subject, yeah.
That was 100.
No, not to recertify, but to take the subject exam. Isn't it?
Like 175.
Oh, it's one something? Okay, I could be wrong. Well, either way, it's free for y'all. So that's good. So they give you a voucher as part of this program as well too. So as I mentioned, that's pretty, I think it's a pretty good deal. You get like up to 90 points, cause 60 for that, and then the voucher as well too. Questions at all about the stipends or voucher? I know that's extremely important, and of course, because you're spending your time here. And then we'll talk about what the assignments are as we go into the modules. But just realize, like, for some people spent more. I had some teachers like, oh, did a Saturday, went through all the details. I have a lot of optional things if you really want to solidify more that you could do on your own. And then here's what, make sure you turn in for the points. And some people do we all know people, and some of y'all are going to maybe do everything and things like that as well. But any questions or points about points or stipends, or just make sure everyone's clear on that before we move on, because that's the important stuff. That's why we're all here. Well, it's for the kids. But we're all here for, we don't teach for free. Nothing wrong with that. So we're good here? Good? Okay. So I want to take a few minutes just to talk about what the exam is, because obviously we're here to get certified. So I've taken the exam a couple times. I took it a while to get certified a long time ago. Then they changed the exam like 15 years ago or so. So I just took it again. And you don't have to do that, but they did, because that's when I started working with teachers here. And then I used part of the grant one time we started just to take it, just to make sure that the test hasn't changed much. I did just, oddly enough, get an email last week that they're looking for people to rewrite the certification exam for computer science. So they're starting that process. I'm sure that'll take at least 3-4 years. But the exam itself, as it is 80 multiple choice questions approximately. If you've taken any of these exams, there's something with the question bank they pull from. It's not one of those progressively gets harder, but it's just, they'll either pull like 2 questions for this, or 1 from here, or 3 from here, and 4 from here, or whatever it is, to encompass what they want to test you on. So it's approximately 80. I've had some people say they only got 76 questions. Some people say they got a little bit more, but it's around 80 questions. They give you 2 hours and 30 minutes. If you have not taken a certification exam in a while, they're all on computers now. You have to go to one of these testing centers, and they it's almost like they're booking you at a correctional facility of some sort, because it's like you can't have anything on you, no smart devices. You get a whiteboard and a marker, and you go in and they watch you, and it's like, there you go. I'm like, who's anyway. But anyway, it's a big deal. So they make sure the integrity of that's there. There are 7 competency areas. We're going to talk about those today, so you get an idea of what this whole test is all about. And most of them are the programming questions, and we'll talk about that, are Java-based. So we're going to spend a lot of time on learning the Java programming language. And if you're like, I've never programmed before, that's fine. Neither have any of my students, and we learn Java every single year here in AP Computer Science, and they've had no business or no prior experience with programming at all. But that's what we're doing here as well too, because the good thing is you don't have to write any code for the exam, but you have to understand how to read it and answer questions about it. But we're gonna be writing code in here because that's one of the best ways to answer questions is practice it a little bit to get to that point. Again, the state's very coy about everything I've seen. It's like approximately 72%. If you go to the website, it says you need a score of 300. That's it. Out of what? They don't tell you what that is out of it, but 300, as if that's some magic number that's supposed to mean something. But I found through other sources, it's approximately a 72% is what you need to pass out of the approximately 80 multiple choice questions, and it's all multiple choice. So you get a idea. You don't need a 90%, but you can't just walk in there and get a 50 and pass the exam as well too. Good, and feel free, if you have any question along the way on this, interrupt me, let me know, and we'll continue on. All right, so the certification exam itself, it's these 7 competencies. If you look through, they're kind of wide-ranging at first glance. Okay, computational thinking and problem solving, data types and structures, programming logic, knowledge of programming languages, hardware, software networking, the historical aspects and social issues related to computer technologies. A lot of that's common sense, you'll see as you go there. And then knowledge of computer science pedagogy. But if you look at the percentages over here, they kind of add up a little bit differently. These 4 right here make up about 70% of the exam, and that's all about answering coding questions and programming questions and questions about programming. And anyone who takes the exam, they come out, they're like, oh my gosh, it was 70 to 80% in their estimation. Questions about code or pseudocode or flowcharts or logic structure of how statements work to do those calculations. And then the rest of this stuff, you're gonna get just a few random questions on these, like 30% or so of, you'll get 1 or 2 about good ethical uses of computers. There's not gonna be a whole lot. Most of it, 70% or so, is going to be Java or pseudocode-based programming languages. That's what we're really going to focus on. We'll do other things, but we'll really focus on that. So I want to go through just briefly and kind of go through the 7 competencies that they test you on. We'll go through these in much more detail in the modules, but again, just to give you an idea of what this covers. If you're like, wait a minute, computers, I didn't know this was a computer test, and then you might be like, but I promise you, if you go through this and stick with it, we've had a really good success rate, especially for those that put the time and effort into it, And I know I'm the first one. I know there's lots of PDs you can go to, like, I'm just gonna bring papers to grade, and I'll just sit there and I'll get my time and I'll do that, and just understand that that's not this type of PD. So, and I don't mean to sound trite about that, but there is a lot of stuff that we got to cover in here, and we'll do that. So the first one, computational problem thinking and problem solving. So we'll talk about analyzing problems. We'll talk about algorithms, right? The steps to solve a problem, how we can deduce what those steps are. We'll look at the software lifecycle development. Talk about getting requirements analysis, designing, and then implementing the coding solutions. Determining an appropriate algorithm. Here's the problem to solve. What would be the best way to solve that? Make predictions. Given this code, what does it do? Identifying what data would be best to test your code. Here's my code. I want to use this input, and this input, and that would test all the different branches that we have. So I make sure that my code's thoroughly tested. They tend to have a lot of questions about that. Number 6 here, a lot. We'll talk about the different data structures. We talk about data structures. That's the software components, the memory structures that hold our information. There's lots of different ways to do this. We'll talk about variables. We'll talk about numeric variables, characters, strings, which are words. We'll talk about converting between those. We'll talk about hexadecimal, binary, different number counting systems, because there's always a few questions on there. That's always a fun time. Learn how to count different numbers. There is different data structures like arrays and linked lists. And again, you're not going to have to write all these huge programs from scratch. We're going to go through, we'll practice a little bit, and then you should be able to answer questions about them. So don't be overwhelmed like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go home and I got to start like I'm working at Google and just start writing all this code. It's not going to happen. There'll be some very handheld guided projects, especially early on. And I'm always available to answer questions because I'm seeing a few panicked looks right now. So, no, you're fine. Stay with me. But it's not just you. I wasn't trying to call anybody. I see a few people going, because I know I'm going to throw a lot at you first time here, just to give you what is on here. Just so you know that there is going to be, it's a journey, it's a process. But we've had a lot of people go through it. And it's not like people have come in, and if they're already certified, they're not here, right? If they've already got a huge background in computer science, they're not here at this class. They don't need this. They can just go take the test. You all have no background on it. Of course, it's why we're here. And we want you to have that background. We're going to talk about classes, objects, and variables, object-oriented design. You have no idea what object-oriented design is, but it's a very popular methodology. That's why we use this language called Java. And then we'll talk about that as well too, the same idea with objects and classes. Programming logic, we'll talk about the idea of debugging or fixing programs. We'll talk about the different characters and functions within a programming language. And we go through it really slow. We'll talk about, again, algorithmic sequence. Again, that idea of applying steps to solve a problem is what an algorithm is. And we'll talk about different already established algorithms like searching for things, sorting things. What are the different ways I could sort? I have like 10 playing cards. How do I sort them? Well, I could sort them this way, or I could use this technique or use this technique. They're just different algorithms, and we'll analyze those and see which ones are best. And then we'll look at some different types of logic, and if you have any experience with like ands and ors and nots. Remember Schoolhouse Rock, conjunction, junction, what's your function? Hook it up, words and phrases and clauses. Ands and ors, we'll talk about that. There's a lot of that logic thinking in computer science. So we'll use ands, and we'll use ors, and what's the difference, and nots, and things like that as well. And then the knowledge of programming language. See, there's a lot about Java, a lot about programming here, so we're going to do a lot of that. So then it's going to, we're going to talk about Scratch. Some of you may be familiar with that in the middle school and elementary schools, using some Scratch. There's like, I don't know why, there's like 1 or 2 questions about Scratch. It's a block-based language. It's very easy for younger students to learn. But then we'll do a lot of Java code, talk about conditional and sequential statements. We'll analyze Java code. What does this do? And you find that you'll pick up how to read Java pretty quickly. It's not like it's in ones and zeros and so weird coded. There's the word if and the word while. And if means do one of these 2 things. While, keep doing this over and over again. So it's easy to pick up on that once we do. And some arithmetic operations, and we'll talk about inheritance and the way we structure some things as well too. Again, just more Java aspects. And that's it for the Java. That was a lot of it. But then we'll talk about these last 3 topics as well. Computer, hardware, software, and networking. We'll talk what's the difference between hardware and software. What are the different storage devices that we have? We'll throw some of that in there. We'll talk about some software applications like spreadsheets and database questions. Because this is a K12 certification, I have no idea why the state of Florida did that. There'll be some questions in there that talk about you are in charge of a budget for a K5 school, and what are some things that might be appropriate software applications for those students, and it's a multiple choice question, right? So, so we'll talk about those things. Those things, I'm an elementary school teacher, I already know it. We've used some of those types of programs. Identify terminology related to networks. That's probably, I'll tell you, it's the driest part of this whole course, because that's just kind of learning about like how networks work, and there's always a couple little questions on that. Open systems interconnection model. Just the vocabulary terms there. And then network devices like router switches, things you have at your home maybe, and if you know what they are, great. If you don't, we'll learn them. And then some basic social historical aspects. We'll talk about a couple of just basic milestones, some cultural, legal, and ethical issues that are in today's society, whether it's privacy issues, use of AI, self-driving cars, all different types of ethical issues that come up with computing today. We'll talk about security. Cybersecurity is a big topic. There's usually a question or 2 about cybersecurity. But just again, very high level. Once we talk about it, they're multiple choice questions. And we'll talk about security issues there as well too. And the last one, some pedagogy, just different things like instructional strategies, formative and summative assessment strategies, effective accommodations, all the things that you do already anyway as a teacher, but just in a computer science sense, you know? And most of this, we're not gonna spend tons of time on these because you all do this every day as far as, I make accommodations. I know what a formative versus summative assessment is. How is that related to what we're learning in here? And then talking about, paths for college or career readiness, and then practices for developing curricula. Again, you all are teachers and you do that every day. And thank you for that. And but a lot of these, we'll just take what we do and talk about how you apply that to your classroom a little bit as well too. So that's a lot of our competencies here. We're got about maybe 20 minutes left. Do you need to take a quick break? Or anyone need a stretch break? Keep going. Just always like to ask. Again, bathroom across the hall if you need to. Just feel free to, or use it over there. Again, just the outline of the course. We have 7 in-person sessions. This is the first one, so there's 6 more where we'll start unit 1 and then we come back the next one. You'll see the schedule up there in a second. But we do have an eCampus course. I apologize, I did not get you into the course yet. I will do that tonight. We still had a last couple minute of people switching in and out. But I will get you into the course tomorrow, into the eCampus course. So you should get a notification. And if not, it'll just show up on your eCampus as a new course there. Each module contains some non-programming stuff as well, and then a lot of Java, because we're going to do that in each module. So we're not going to just kind of front load it with Java and then do all the other stuff at the end. We'll do a little bit of everything through all 5. There are going to be a couple of small assignments and a small programming project. You'll see that it's nothing to really, about 4 hours between modules to work on the assignment is what I think the average person was doing as well too. There is a quiz at the end that is we'll talk about it. I would like to see you get it. Usually 20 multiple choice questions. Take as many times as you want. Open note, open whatever. It's just so that you can feel good about that, hey, I learned something over here. And if you get it, I think I put in there at the end of the module, see, try to get at least 15 right. If you don't, take it again. And look at the ones that you missed and then go take it again. That's the idea. You're not getting graded, and we just want to see that, that you feel like, oh, I did get something out of this, and you've learned that so far. Spend at least 3, maybe 4 hours outside work per module between our in-person sessions. And as I said, that work is 4 points for each of the modules outside here for a total of 20 points. Cool? All right, this is the sessions, and you can see our dates. I kind of gave you a little bit of detail with their modules. So we're going to do module 1. It tends to be a little bit longer, so I just have that by itself. That's what we're going to cover most of on session 1 on the 23rd. That's actually in 2 weeks, because next week we don't have school on Monday, so kind of worked it around there. So, and then we'll begin module 1, and then every other session after that, we'll spend the hour and a half. We'll spend that first half hour going over the assignments that you just did. If you got stuck, if we need to work on something, I turned in this and this, I didn't get that turned in because I couldn't figure it, well, we'll go over it, and then you can get it turned in. Or answer any questions. Yeah, I got the assignment done, but I don't know how I did that, or what does that mean? We'll go over all those Unit 1 stuff now that you had a chance to sit with it for a couple weeks. And then we'll do an hour of Unit 2, yes?
Can you put the module before the 23rd? So that way we could do it.
Yes, I will make sure it's up there beforehand, yes. In fact, I'll have all the modules up there well before we start. So if you wanted to peek ahead at Module 1 and start looking at some of the stuff, we'll talk about that here in a couple minutes. Yeah. So sure, definitely. But then after the 23rd, it's 2 more weeks until March 9th anyway as well too. So you'll notice most of them are 2, a couple of them are 3 weeks because of spring break is in there. So there's a 3-week gap for the spring break week because y'all need a spring break. And then there was a Monday that I had something. So, little things like that. So May 18th is our last one. And the last one we'll review, and then we'll do our final test preparations. We'll talk more about, going over and some more test taking strategies, things like that. So that's how it's set up. The 5 modules that we have here, you'll see these in your eCampus course. So the red is the Java programming things. And you'll notice that in the first one, all about Java, all about programming on the first module. And then all the other modules, we'll put in some other topics that are the non-programming things to kind of break things up a little bit. We'll talk about apps and cybersecurity, and we'll all the red topics are the programming ideas that we'll talk about in general, but then we'll also talk about it in terms of Java, which is the programming language that we'll use here. And then in Module 5, there's just that one Java topic, that's kind of a big one there, just because there's questions on it, and then we'll talk about the final test preparation after that as well. So that's kind of our schedule. You can see what's, again, you'll see all I have the courses on eCampus. I'm just making some slight changes just to update them a little bit for this year, but 95% of it will be done. And once you're in eCampus, you'll see the modules in there as well too. All right, so this is some of the tools that we're going to be using along the way. And at the end here, we have like the last 10 minutes left. If you want to sign up for them, or if you want to use my computer or your laptop to get some of these things done, you can. Otherwise, you can do them at home and ready to go for the next session that we have. This first thing, there's an online textbook called CS Awesome. That sounds cheesy. I use this in my AP Computer Science A class. It is phenomenal. It is an interactive online textbook where it explains. You'll see a lot of the topics, and it's not the whole thing they have to go through because we're only covering. But I'll pull out specific sections. I'll have you sign up for it, and we'll do a couple of exercises out of there that I'll say, well, make sure you check that out. And then what they do is they have these little windows on the website where you can actually write code in there. And it's very interactive. If you used any type of interactive textbook before, you have the basic idea. You need to create an account so to keep track of your progress. I'll show you how to do that. And there'll be a couple things inside of there as well too. There's also a lot of practice multiple choice questions. If you want more practice, you can do those, and I'll point that out as well. So we'll sign up for that at the end. But CS Awesome, great online textbook. Study.com is another free resource. I will refer to this a little bit, but this is something that, as part of the grant, they give you access to. If you've used Study.com for any of these, for any type of certification exams before, it's a good resource, but it's a good resource. It's a lot. If you went through, you could spend hours and hours and hours and hours going through all the different chapters here. I will point out certain things I think are good to check out if you want some extra, but if you're like, oh no, I kind of got that, I did the program assignment, I feel good about that topic, then don't worry about going in there. If you want some more background on that topic, there's some good resources for you here. There is a whole course, I guess, it's 10 chapters on the computer science K12 certification. That's all of this. I'll refer to some of these if you need clarification on a topic. And then there's also a Java programming course on study.com as well too. I would not recommend going through all of these courses. You'd spend a lot of time. You'd be very, very, very well versed in Java by the end. I don't necessarily think it's necessary to pass the exam, but it might be something that if you want to teach Java later on, there's some good resources here. There's also practice exams on both these as well too, and that's really good just to get some idea before you take the test. There is an FTCE sample test, 30 questions, only 30, that are on the website. I will go over all 30 of those questions throughout the course of this class. I snapshot them in there only because they're right off the website. One of them actually has an error, and I've written to the state of Florida like 4 times to say, can you please fix this one? It's wrong. I put it in, it doesn't do what you think it does. They don't fix it. But what's good about these, because this is the closest thing you have to the actual questions. Everybody else is just writing based on what they've seen. There are 4 types of multiple choice questions. Sentence completion, right? What's the best response? Here's the scenario. We have to examine a situation, answer a question, and then either talk about an algorithm you would use or what's the best option to approach this problem. It's one of those type of things. Command, select the best response. What does this produce? A, B, or C. Same with direct questions. Choose a response that best answers the question. Those are the types of things you'll see. I think that's probably true for most certification exams, but those are the 4 types of questions. All 30 questions I have interspersed throughout our different modules as practice, as we'll go through those as well too. Some additional resources that are also good is the University of Florida. They've only done this in the past couple of years, put together a CS Everyone, it's computer science education. They actually have 3 sample tests that are not too far off. I think they're pretty good, very similar to that. I would recommend, we'll talk about this in just a minute, I would recommend there's a pre-test, and a post-test, and I think it's called a mid-test. That you can take as we're going through. If you want to see how well you're doing, take the pre-test first. If you find that you're scoring a 90% on that pre-test, you don't need, maybe just want the points and the money, then keep coming back, but you're in good shape. But you might bond the pre-test, great. And then after module 5, you take the post-test and look at how much you've learned over that time. So we'll talk about that as well too. It's a pretty good group. It's a pretty good site up there as well too. And even though it's at the University of Florida, but okay, hey, as shameless self-promotion, I have a YouTube channel. There's a link up here. It's Tim Gallagher Computer Science. I put all I have a lot of videos that I do for the College Board I put on there, and then I also have a playlist of the K12 Certification Exam Course from last spring, but I'm going to put this spring's up there as well, so I'll have a new playlist for you, but you'll see it up there. All of our sessions will be recorded and posted there, and there's a lot of other, if you're like, I just didn't quite get what a for loop does. Hey, I've got a video on for loops, or you can go to study.com, or you can go to CS Awesome, a lot of different places there to get that background. Please hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and kids laugh when they do it too.
This is where he makes up his money from leaving his previous
Right.
job.
Well, it's not monetized right now yet. Maybe everyone needs a side hustle, right? So I only got I literally started for last year, and then this year I started putting stuff up there for College Board as well too, because they changed the way they do their videos. But all right, so that's all the stuff I have here. I'm going to talk about getting the tech ready. If anyone needs a break, again, feel free. Any questions so far, though?
Well, I have one.
Sure.
Maybe. So if, really, I have no idea even what Java is.
No problem.
So, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, was that your question? Or?
That's it.
Okay, I don't have a question. I just have a profound statement I'm going to let you know. That's okay. Java's a programming language. Anybody here programming Java before? Look at all the hands not going up. Okay, 2 people, right? Other than that,
That's why he's with me, because
the majority of people have never done it before. What's that?
Code.org, does that count?
So Code.org does JavaScript, which is very similar, right? So if you taught CS, I know we had a couple CS principals teachers, you may have done some Code.org JavaScript stuff, so it's very similar. You'll notice the syntax is very similar, but when we start talking about object-oriented programming and things like that, that's a brand new topic.
Is this similar to C++?
It is similar to C++, yeah, if you've done that. So there you go, great. How because when we were at Java wasn't invented back then, so I know, and it wasn't. No, listen, I got a degree in computer science. I didn't take any Java classes. It didn't come around until after I graduated college, so I'm right there as well. And all right, so there's a couple of things that's on here. If I'm going to talk about signing things up. I'm going to talk about CS Awesome, the UF one, and then some things at home, just to kind of finish up in the last few minutes. If you want to do these on your computer here, I'll be sticking around for a little bit later. I want to kind of talk you through what these are. But if you could do these at home, there's no assignments from now until the next unit. So if you could do these at home, just to be ready to go for our module 1, which then starts the things in here. So the first one is Runestone. If you go to runestone.academy, click on register and get started. This is the CS Awesome book that I use. You have to fill out your name, email, and password. For your username, if you can pick a username, I have to tell some of my students, that's similar to your actual name, because I'll have someone come in and their username will be like Big Bubba 42. I don't know who that is.
Sound like our
Oh, they do it all the time.
Of course, so I need
recognize it.
something that I
You
can
don't get
tell
that.
who it is if there's a problem with the account or whatever. But anyway, but the course name, if you click on Gallagher CSA, it'll sign you up for the CS Awesome. It's Runestone Academy. They have a lot of online textbooks, and Gallagher CSA will put you in my class for CSA. This is actually the older version of the one that I use now, because the course for CSA changed a little bit, but some of that old stuff they got rid of is still on the CS certification exam, so we're using the old version of this course. So Gallagher CSA is the course. Do me a favor, don't, because I have students who do this. You click on this, make course after registering, instructors only. So I have students that will click on this and then they make their own course. That's not where you want to join a course that's there. So don't click on this box right here. But if you go to runestone.academy, either tonight if you have a laptop, or if you want to go tomorrow or sometime in the next 2 weeks, sign up for that. That's in your slides. The next thing I recommend, I mentioned this as well, cseveryonecenter.org, FTCE-prep. Click on Get Started. They do require you to make an account, and if you make an account, you're an educator, they do have a survey they want you to take. It's up to you. This is totally volunteer, but if you're like, I'm the kind of person that would like to do a pre-test and a post-test to see where I'm at, that's a great way to get started here. Totally optional. It's just a good resource for you. Nothing that you have to do, but I recommend checking that. And then the last thing that you'll see on eCampus is, so when we have what's called an IDE, an integrated development environment that, and we'll talk about this with Module 1, that allow you to develop Java programs on your computer at home. Unfortunately, this does not work with a Chromebook, and if you only have access to a Chromebook, I can do some workarounds for you when it comes to certain projects, so we'll talk about that. In fact, if you only have access to a Chromebook, a laptop is great, like a Dell or an HP laptop, or but if you only have a Google Chromebook, like probably one of the ones in school because they're really cheap, let me know, email me, and I can come up with a workaround for you, because this involves installing programs on your computer. A desktop at home is great, or you can use your school laptop. This has all been approved already by the county. It's installed on all of my lab computers here. There's two, you can either, there's two files here. This is in eCampus when you have access to the eCampus course. Under Welcome Opening Documents, there's two files, the JDK and JGrasp. JDK is the Java Development Kit, and then JGrasp is the IDE that we use. It's kind of like, you wouldn't type a term paper in Notepad, right? You would use Word. Why? Because it has nice formatting, different fonts, spacing, word check. That's what JGrasp is. It's a development environment that changes things in certain colors, and it's really good. If you have a laptop, you're welcome to install it and bring a laptop every day. If you have like, I've got a desktop at home, but if I come here and ask a question, you can put it on your OneDrive. And if you need help with that, let me know. And then if you want to access your OneDrive here, so I've got JGrasp installed here. Or if you're like, well, I only have a Chromebook at home, but can I come a half an hour early before our session and come work on the computers? I will be here for a half an hour before and a half an hour after every session to answer questions if you might have them as well. Okay, so I'll be here at 5:30 and we'll leave at 8. So that'll be part of what I'm doing here. So we'll be here 6 to 7:30 from here on out. We'll talk more about this. Now, I will tell you, if you have a school-issued device, they lock these down like they're, I was gonna say Fort Knox, but I guess there's no gold, whatever. Anyway, they lock these down so you can't install anything. But you have to put a request into your IT person at your school and tell them, you can send them the files or put the files on somewhere they can access them, or because they're on my eCampus, or they can download them from, if you go to jgrasp.org, I believe, and I'll make an announcement on the eCampus about that. So you can get that installed on your school-based laptop. That's fine. And again, it's all already approved. I got it on my school-based laptop. I got them on all these computers. The county's already approved it. It's valid, free software for you to download and use either at home or on your devices here. So that's all I had. Questions, comments here? Yes.
So do we just get like a case ticket and have?
Yeah, if you open up a case ticket, I need these installed for a PD that I'm taking,
Okay.
and they'll say, what do you need installed? And you can download them from eCampus. I'll get you access to that tomorrow, and then sometime over the next 2 weeks, you can say, I've got the files on my computer if it's your school laptop, and you can just take your laptop to them, whatever they decide, or come to your room and say, I just need these two installed. They just got to use their admin password to get installed on there. But it'll be those two. If they want to download it themselves from a website, I'll put that up there, an announcement on eCampus where they can get that. But I have them already downloaded in eCampus as well. So if you could sign up between now and next time, sign up for CS Awesome, sign up for this, and download these. And real quick before we leave, again, thank you so much for being here. I know I just threw a lot at you, said, hey, you're about to take a big test, it's going to give you 60 points in certification, and here's everything that's going to be on it, and in 55 minutes, right? We're going to go through a lot of these, and it'll be small, bite-sized assignments that we've covered everything that you need to do before I ask you to do anything. I'm not going to ask you to go research this on your own and figure out how to do it. We'll talk through about how to do all these. But we will be doing a lot, and it's gonna require you to actually practice a little bit as well at home. But it shouldn't, if you're spending like 7, 8, 10 hours, talk to me, email me and say, hey, listen, I need some help with this. I've done Zoom sessions with people, we can kind of work something out, or if you're having trouble installing something, let me know. So I have faith in all of you that you can do this. If for some reason you're like, you know what, no, that's fine, no worries. Thank you for coming today and at least trying. But email me, let me know, because we do have a waiting list. However, please, that is not I encourage every single one of you to stay, because I think you'll get something out of it. And then you'll be like, I now have a much broader sense of computer science and how it works in education, and how students learn how to code and program. And I know all my students need this. And I am a huge proponent of computer science education and program and everything else. So I hope that you all decide to stick with it and take lots of things you can learn from here back to your classes and spread the computer science love. Questions, comments from me at all? No? Good? It is 7 o'clock on the nose, folks.
Look at you.
How about that? All right. And yeah, so that should be it. I'm hoping my camera recorded the whole time. Yes, it did. I'm going to stop it now.